Very good morning, children. Today we will be learning chapter 1, Living World and Classification of Microbes. In this chapter there are two parts. Part 1 is classification of living organisms and part 2 is classification of microorganisms. Today we will be covering only part 1, that is classification of living organisms. We have already learnt in 7th standard about adaptation. We know that animals and plants adapt to different conditions in the environment, and this actually leads to development of new species of plants and animals. We have learnt very well how camel and cactus has adapted to the harsh environment of high temperature in the desert. Similarly, we have learnt about how fishes and lotus-like plants have adapted themselves to the aquatic environment. All these adaptations which these plants and animals do have generated many species of plants and animals. According to the 2011 census, there are 87 million species of organisms in the environment, which includes the species present on land as well as on sea. And therefore, to study so many species, it is very important that we categorize them or we group them according to their similarities and their differences. This grouping of the species which we do is basically called as classification. And when do we call it biological classification? When we are actually grouping and categorizing living organisms. So right now what we are going to do is we are going to actually learn what is biological classification. Carolus Linnaeus was the person who in the year 1735 classified or grouped the living organisms into two groups, basically plants and animals. He called it Vegetabilia and Animalia. Haeckel was a person who in the year 1866 categorized and classified the living organisms into three groups: microorganisms, plants and animals, or protista, plants and animals. Copeland in the year 1938 categorized them further into Monera, Protista, plants and animals. We even have in the year 1925 Chatton, who classified them into prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Robert Whittaker, who in the year 1969 gave the classification where he gave a total of 5 kingdoms: Monera, Protista, fungi, Animalia and plants. So his classification is very well known as the 5 kingdom classification. He had used 5 criteria for classification. Those were complexity of cell structure, complexity of organisms, mode of nutrition, lifestyle, phylogenetic relationship. We are going to look at each criteria in detail. First is complexity of cell structure. We have learned this in the 7th standard, and we know that living organisms can be classified into two: prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotes are those organisms who have very simple cell structure. Why do we call it simple? Because they don't have nucleus and they don't have any kind of membrane bound organelles. Whereas eukaryotes are those organisms who have complex structures. Why do we call them complex? Because they have nucleus as well as they have membrane bound organelles. Therefore we can say that living organisms can be basically divided into two, that are prokaryotes and eukaryotes. The second criteria which he used for his classification was complexity of organisms. Let's look at that. Complexity of organisms, as we have already learned, organisms are divided into two: unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Unicellular means that they have only one single cell, whereas multicellular means they have many cells working together. We know that unicellular organisms are simple organisms, whereas multicellular organisms are complex organisms. Therefore, what we learnt earlier, that living organisms are divided into two, prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotes are further divided into unicellular. All the prokaryotes are unicellular only. These unicellular prokaryotes are called as Monera. Therefore, unicellular prokaryotes belong to the kingdom of Monera. Eukaryotes, however, can be divided into two, unicellular and multicellular. These unicellular eukaryotes belong to the kingdom of Protista. Let's look at the third criteria. The third criteria which he used for classification was mode of nutrition. We have already learnt that there are two modes of nutrition. First is autotrophic mode of nutrition and second is heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Autotrophic mode of nutrition is normally seen in plants, where plants absorb the energy from the sun and they make food for themselves. That is why it is known as autotrophic, making food for itself. Whereas heterotrophic means these include those animals and also humans who are dependent upon autotrophs, or all those who are dependent upon plants or other sources of nutrition are called as heterotrophic. In heterotrophic also we have already learned that we have saprophytic, parasitic and holozoic, which we very well learned in our 7th standard. So mode of nutrition can be divided into two, autotrophic mode of nutrition and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So living organisms, again we have already seen about Monera and Protista. So we'll look at the eukaryotes which are multicellular. These multicellular eukaryotes can further be divided into autotrophic and heterotrophic. Autotrophic means they are going to be plants. Heterotrophic is what we'll be classifying further. The next criteria which he used for classification was lifestyle. According to the lifestyle, we can divide the organisms into three: producers, consumers and decomposers. Producers are plants. Consumers are those animals which are dependent upon the plants, and decomposers are those which feed on the dead and decaying matter of plants as well as the animals. Therefore, the multicellular autotrophs, I repeat, the multicellular autotrophic organisms are nothing but the producers. That means we are talking about plants. So plants are nothing but they are the autotrophic organisms which are eukaryotes. Similarly, heterotrophs can be divided into consumers and decomposers. Therefore, eukaryotes are divided into unicellular, multicellular. Unicellular is Protista. Multicellular can be divided into autotrophic or heterotrophic. Autotrophic are producers and plants. Heterotrophic can be divided into consumers and decomposers. These consumers are animals and decomposers are fungus. Therefore, this becomes the 5 kingdom classification that was given by Robert Whittaker. So we have the 5 kingdoms as Monera, Protista, plants, animals and fungus. The last classification, the last criteria which he gave was phylogenetic relationship. Phylogenetic basically is related to evolution. We have learnt about evolution of man. Evolution is nothing but the gradual development which takes place in living organism. Therefore, this chart shows the 5 kingdom classification. We are going to look at each kingdom in detail. The first kingdom we are going to look at is Monera. So this is the classification given for the kingdom of Monera. Whenever characteristic of any kingdom is asked, always move from the downward direction to the upward direction. That is, for example, if the question is asked, write the characteristic of kingdom Monera, we will write that it is unicellular prokaryote living organism. I repeat, it is unicellular prokaryotic living organism. So, we have moved from down to up. This becomes very simple. For writing the answer, there is no need of by hearting. So I repeat, the kingdom Monera has the characteristic that is unicellular prokaryotic living organism. Unicellular means it has only a single cell and it is very simple. Prokaryotic again means that the cell structure is very simple. It has no nucleus and it has no membrane bound organelle. We have various examples in this. These are the examples: Streptococcus pneumoniae, Staphylococcus aureus, Clostridium tetani, Legionella pneumophila, Clostridium botulinum, Treponema pallidum, Streptobacillus moniliformis, Vibrio cholerae, Salmonella typhi, Helicobacter pylori. These are all bacteria. Coming to the next kingdom, that is kingdom Protista. Here also we will do the same thing. We will move from downward direction to the upward direction. So the characteristic of kingdom Protista is, it is unicellular eukaryotic living organism. Here again, unicellular means it has a single cell. Eukaryotic means it has a nucleus in that cell and it has membrane bound organelles also. That is kingdom Protista. The examples here are Euglena, amoeba, paramecium and volvo. Now we will compare the two things which we have already learnt. We learnt about kingdom Monera and kingdom Protista. If you try to compare the classifications for both, you will understand that it differs from the point that is marked in red. Everything remains the same, but kingdom Monera is a prokaryote and kingdom Protista is a eukaryote, which means kingdom Monera has simple cell structure whereas Protista has complex cell structure. Both are unicellular or single-celled organisms. This is the classification for the kingdom of fungus. Now, even though decomposers are written, we need not mention decomposers while writing the characteristic of fungus. So, we will start from heterotrophic. So, the characteristic of fungus is they are heterotrophic, multicellular, eukaryotic living organism. The meaning of heterotrophic is that fungus cannot make its own food, that is why it's dependent on other organisms. Multicellular means there are many cells in the fungus working together. Eukaryotic means they have complex cell structure. So, fungus is heterotrophic, multicellular, eukaryotic living organism. Examples are baker's yeast, which is very often used in the kitchen, Aspergillus, Penicillium. Aspergillus and Penicillium are normally found on decaying matter, and we have mushroom. So these are examples of fungus. This is the classification given for plants. Here the same thing applies. We will not be using producers in the characteristic. So the characteristics of plants will start from autotrophic. So we will say plants are autotrophic, multicellular, eukaryotic living organism. Autotrophic means they are going to make their own food. They have a organelle called as chloroplast in which photosynthesis takes place, because of which they are going to make their own food. So they are not dependent on anything. They are multicellular means many cells work together. Eukaryotic means they have complex cell structure. So the characteristics of plants are they are autotrophic, multicellular, eukaryotic living organisms. This is the classification of plant. Classification of plant, why did I put the chart here, is to show you that plants can be divided further based on many other characteristics, but this is not going to be learnt in this standard. You'll be learning it in your 9th standard. This is the classification of animal. Again here consumers will not be added in the class characteristic of animals. So characteristic of animals are, they are heterotrophic, multicellular, eukaryotic, living organism. So heterotrophic means that they are dependent upon plants or other materials. Multicellular means many cells work together. Eukaryotic means they have a complex cell structure. So animals are heterotrophic, multicellular, eukaryotic, living organisms. Like plants, animals are also further classified. This classification will be learnt in standard 10th. Now, if you go to compare what we just now learnt in fungus, plants and animals, you will understand that everything remains the same except the ones that are marked in red. Plants are autotrophic, whereas fungus and animals, they are heterotrophic. Even though fungus and animals are heterotrophic, animal is different from fungus because animals are consumers whereas fungus are decomposers. So while you are learning the classifications, always try to compare the classifications of each and learn so that it becomes simple. Thank you.